30 days out. We are almost 4 weeks from the meet. So it's kind of crunch time here a little bit. So we got some plans today for deadlift. It's becoming quite a little bit of a theme here to kind of stop talking and just pull. So I think we're going to do that again today. We're going to do a top single and then some back offs. But I think at this point, I think we just need to start pulling. I have slowly over time been tweaking my setup, so I'm going to kind of go over that as I pull today, kind of like what I'm doing here. But let's just start. Let's just get this going. I'm not at all saying that like for the other two lifts it doesn't matter, but I definitely feel that, especially when it comes to sumo, as I'm learning, setup is absolutely key to the lift, period. Not like I said, not that I want to say that like having a good setup on squat or bench is not important and it doesn't make the lift and all that stuff, but it's so much more important, I feel like, on sumo. Even conventional, I feel like you can kind of get away with some different things or whatever. But with sumo, I just feel I'm learning. I've been told from a lot of people, but I'm learning myself, firsthand experience here. My setup is my lift. Like, that is really what makes the lift here. And as always, I'm not saying my setup is perfect for any of these lifts, especially for sumo deadlift. I'm not saying I don't have a lot of work to do for sure, but I'm definitely, it makes more sense in my head. Things are starting to click more. The way that I now I'm setting up, the way that I'm pulling, the way that the second rep is going, everything's really starting to make more sense in a way that it hasn't for years. And I've struggled and tried with sumo, and now it finally feels like it's coming together here. So like for instance, my setup, more setting up from like the bottom up properly instead of from the top down, has really helped me. I've got it from a few different people that I've been watching a lot of different content. What is it, Andrew Yang, I've been seeing, and even Sean Noriega. I've like combined a couple things that they've both talked about kind of together to get still pulling from the same position, but just setting up different and creating tension differently. So, putting my shins a little closer to the bar to start, but starting my setup with bringing my shins to the bar, which ain't that far, but that's fun. But bringing my shins to the bar and then hinging at my hips until I can feel a ton of tension in my glutes, right? And not even any, I'm not hinging at all to get down to the bar. I'm just hinging all the way back until I feel that tension in my glutes that I want throughout the whole lift. And I just hold this tension here. And then I'm coming and I'm making my arms really long. And I'm coming straight down to the bar. And I'm setting my grip. I'm rotating my elbows in. And I'm pulling up. I definitely feel like this is a lot easier for me, setup-wise, to find that tension in my glutes, my hamstrings, and even my quads. Like, I feel like this just, the tension just comes, right? So, like, it doesn't even necessarily come in foot placement. Like, I'm not looking for quad tension here. I'm not, like, trying to get in position to where I'm finding everything at one time as I come down to the bar and then pulling up, right? Almost doing it in these stages has really been helping me to, like, really focus on, like, what I need to. So, like, for one, I need to be in the right position away from the bar. So being in a position here and then bringing my shins to the bar, I'm already starting in a pretty decent position for the start, right? So then hinging my hips back, I create so much tension in my glutes and hamstrings that I can keep this tension here. And then going down straight to the bar, my knees do naturally track out, right? And I have so much tension right now in my glutes, hams, and my quads. I can feel my quads are tight from top to bottom right now, just from being like in that position. So, and then honestly, taking a lot of stuff out of from Sean Noriega is just keeping like my upper body a lot more loose, like up here loose, like my arms, my upper back, whatever. Not creating such like rigidity here, allowing like my scap to retract or to protract, you know, to make my arms actually longer. It's helped a ton. You know, and honestly, even bracing, it might just be because I've been doing it for a few years with, you know, with powerlifting in general, but I don't have to brace as much. Does that make sense? Like I still brace, I still get the same amount of tension, but my body like naturally braces when it needs to in this position. I don't have to think about like bracing and like pulling my ribs down and stuff like that. Like being in this position, like setting up, right? So we're bringing shins to the bar. We're hinging back until we find glute tension for us. We're coming straight down to the bar. We're setting our grip. Like my brace right now is set. And I can still talk. And coming here and setting my grip and then rotating and starting the pull, my brace immediately like clamps down like it should. And it becomes so much more of a natural movement setting up like this, which seems crazy because this is not a natural setup for me. Like you would think a much more natural setup would be just coming to the bar, putting my feet coming straight down and straight up. But like it's almost like the unnatural setup is what creates such a much more natural position to be in to pull. And before I show the top set, welcome to my channel. My name is John Mahaffey. I've been powerlifting for 5 years now. I'm kind of an amateur powerlifter, coach, enthusiast, whatever you want to call it. So my main thing here is normal training. You know, I work out in my garage gym. I'm married. I have a full-time job. I have kids, so my schedule changes. Things change. I do all my own programming, which updates, you know, week to week sometimes. So a lot of that to me showcases like just what normal really is. Really wish more lifters, advanced lifters, you know, more like professional lifters, I wish they were more transparent with how their day-to-day really affected their training and life. Really wanted to be transparent when it came to my programming. If you like this stuff, subscribing to my channel helps me out a ton. Liking the video helps me out a ton. Let's get back to the workout and let's see what we can do in this top set. Oh man, I'll tell you what. All right, so here's the deal. The plan was 425 today, which we pulled. Also, RP8. So, we pulled it. I wasn't very happy with that because honestly, I felt like that moved too well. So, took a gamble. Even thought to myself, if this doesn't work, who cares? At a certain point, it's deadlift. And as long as I don't put too much strain into continue to try, there is a point where it won't just come off, it just won't come off the floor. That's it. As simple as it, as that. So my thought process here was, well, we can attempt something heavier, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. And that's okay. Guess what? It did. A heavier attempt worked. I gotta be honest with you. The only reason I made more of a jump and went off what we had prescribed is because, simply put, the RPE just wasn't there. That RPE in that 425 was way under RPE. That flew. It felt great. Everything felt fine. So I said, heck with it. Let me just make what would be a pretty decently normal jump for me. So I went from the, from a 10 on each side to a 25, which normally is a pretty inappropriate jump for me for my more top sets. So 455, tried it, we pulled it. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm very shocked at the speed of that. I watched the video back. I just stopped my footage, watched it back. My form feels phenomenal. I look pretty on point. It looks a lot better. I'm gonna watch it again a few times to watch with the smaller details. Obviously, like when my knees lock, when my hips shoot up, how they come, there's a bar and hips rise, or, all that stuff. But basics, good leg drive. Back stayed pretty neutral the whole time. I felt like I was in the right position over the bar. I wasn't too far over. I wasn't too far behind. Good foot pressure, all that stuff. So 455 came up. My deadlift sucks. I am not leveraged for it at all. I've pulled conventional for years now. And as you guys can tell, my arms are decently short. So when I lock out, it's almost at my hips. So switching to sumo a few weeks ago has really paid off. 455 is my conventional PR. 425 today, if I'm not wrong, I might have pulled it maybe last block, but I don't think I did. I believe 425 is my PR for sumo. 455 is definitely a PR for sumo, and now matches my PR for conventional. And I tell you what, my 455 in conventional was a grinder. That was not a grinder. That was an RP8. I'm very pumped right now. I feel like I'm talking way too much now because of this, but that's phenomenal. I'm very happy with that. That moved extremely well. I mean, at this point, we're going to have to go up on maybe the rest of the programming depending on how next week goes. So next week is our RP9 week, which I feel like as of today, we still had more left in the tank. I could have went heavier and pulled an RP9 or a 10 or whatever. I'm going to say that was a very good RP8. Especially if I'm using a gauge of like what a single would look like on a squat. And I understand that this is not a squat, but it's definitely more of a squat than my conventional is. And my conventional falls off very quickly. Where this, I'm not seeing a ton of fall off. I know for oh God, I know for a fact that sucked. So we're gonna do better. Based on my depth with these, the point is not a squat. We're trying to more mimic our deadlift here. It's definitely not perfect, but for these, I feel like we can do exercises different ways in order to target different things, in order to get better at certain things, whatever. Belt squat right now for me, I'm not even using it so much as a squat. I'm using it as like a deadlift builder. So I'm trying to put myself in a very similar position as I would in a sumo. So the stance width isn't the same. It's a little bit more narrow, which is fine because of that, we can get a little bit more quad than we normally would. But the weight pulling me forward really helps because I can try at the very top to get nice and upright. But as I come down, allowing my torso to come forward, not exactly the same as the deadlift because we're never going to get there, but similar to the deadlift more than the squat. In the squat, I'm more upright than I am in my deadlift. And this is like a good in between, but most of it is I'm not even trying to hit depth like a squat would. I'm trying to more find that tension when it comes to like my hamstrings, my glutes, and my quads in a deadlift. So this definitely takes a lot of load and stress off the lower back for sure. So we don't want to add back to it and doing like a weird hinge with it. But I do want to mimic more of my deadlift than I do my squat, at least for me, because this is why I chose to do this. Now, we could do this a little different way, get more of a squat out of it, stay nice and upright, come more straight down and straight up. But what I want to do is as I come down, allow my torso to track forward and then come back to get more of the deadlift. But honestly, it's more of an in-between, to be like, just to be totally frank. All right, guys. So let's finish this workout off with a little bit of a voiceover. Some lat pullovers. Really trying to drive home more of like a bench setup too, and a deadlift with having my shoulder blades down is the main focus here, but still being able to get lat engagement. We're not going to bench with our lats, but we're still going to use them as stability. So I want to kind of mimic that. But also we can kind of get something for the deadlift out of this with, keeping our shoulders down and our shoulders blades down, kind of make our arms long while still finding the lat tension. So these been pretty decent. Added a little bit of weight this week because it was a little too easy. But other than that, we're going to do some cable abduction. But that's it. Pretty much end of the workout. Pretty boring. Nothing too crazy. If you guys are new to the channel, watch more of my videos. If you like this type of stuff, then hit like. Subscribe to my channel. I post this type of content 4 times a week, and you can watch me as my prep for this meet that's coming up in almost 4 weeks from now. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for today's video, guys. The video is just going to roll, and it eventually will just cut off because we don't have an outro. So